Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you another My Hero Academia review. And this time we're doing episode 11, One for All. So yeah, I know I'm probably a little late on this since the episode's like almost a week old, but I just wanted to have my commentary episode get a little bit of views before I put up my next episode. In this one, we see, of course, the fabled end of All Might's career as the number one hero and symbol of peace. Defeating All for one last time. And this episode does a lot. For instance, it brings up the fact that Tomura Shigaraki is Nana Shimura, All Might's mentor's grandson, as well as actually showing his mentor and naming her. This is actually where we get the name of the previous One for All user before All Might, that of Nana Shimura. So far, we only really know three successors, or three users of One for All. Nana, All Might, Toshinori Yagi, his real name. I rarely call him by his real name. I feel like it's just more prominent to call him All Might, because that's how I see him as, and, you know, that's who he really was at the end of the day. And Midoriya. Rather, Izuku. And so yeah, we get that. We get the revelation of Tomura being Nana's grandson, which honestly was actually a really big twist for me. I actually really liked the twist. It was surprising, and it actually made a lot of sense of why All for One would choose him as his successor. All in all, it's just a really good episode. It's really tear-jerking, especially like when you get to the part where All Might is finally exposed, like his frail form is actually exposed. And at first everyone's just shocked, and some people are even like, well, look at that. If this is All Might, then we're done. Like, there's no way we can win. And then people start rallying behind him because they know, like, even if he's this weak, he's the only one that can stop this guy. You know, who else can? And I think a lesser anime, or maybe like just a weaker shonen series would have Midoriya like run back to the battlefield and actually manage to defeat One for All, despite not having great control over his abilities. Like you would see a lesser shonen probably do something like that, or like a shonen from the 80s where the main character always comes out on top no matter what. But they don't. All Might have one last final battle where he uses the remaining embers of One for All that he has within him. And he just uses it for one final smash, the United States smash, which is the best smash. I was like, what smash is he gonna use? And he just bellows out, United States of Smash! I love that. Oh, that was such a good scene. That was such an amazing. And not only that, I actually love that and to be fair, I think he is smiling in the manga, but like, I think I noticed it prevalently more here just because of the fact that it was colored. He clearly smiles, like, even though like, his body is broken and he's almost completely out of power, he just smiles through it and he saves the day. You know, and that scene where like he's all deflated and then he uses just the last few moments of all, because he still technically has like this much of One for All in his body, like just enough that he can like puff his body out, like he can look like himself for like a moment, and I love that because he does it one last time with his body like that. And he does it in that moment. You know, after he wins, to show that he's still standing and he's still the pillar of society. It actually reminds me a lot about the whole Pillar of Flame from Naruto, where the third dies, and he's like, even though you defeated me, the will of fire is a pillar that cannot be a flame that cannot be put out just because you've taken out the leader of the village. If anything, you will make it stronger because of the people that I take care of and that I know will rise up. And, you know, and it also kind of implies that, you know, Naruto is the new pillar, even though nobody knows it, that he's going to be, you know, the Hokage, and he's going to bring peace to Konoha. And I think for me it's even, I think the most heartbreaking scene is when he points and goes, "You're next." And Midoriya even points out that everyone else thinks it's like, oh, he's still saying, criminals beware, even though I'm gone, we're all gonna come after you. And Midoriya, and I think the audience both knows that that's All Might's way of saying, like, I'm all used up, Midoriya. You're going to have, you're the next symbol of justice. You've gotta become the pillar. And and like I actually like that's where when Midoriya finally starts crying, not when his mentor has been revealed to be weak or anything like that. It's at the moment where he knows that All Might is basically finally passing the torch on to him, and Midoriya feels like he's not ready. Like, and it's just so hard because he's just like, Midoriya has realized that, like, even with everything that they did to rescue Bakugo, it still ended with him losing his power. I especially love how they animate Bakugo in this. Like, he doesn't cry. He doesn't have like like that look on his face like you would see Zoro have whenever something bad happens to the Straw Hats, and he just is immovable. Although nothing against Zoro, I like that's what I like about Zoro. Like when the Going Merry is burning and they all stand there and watch as the Going Merry like burns apart and sinks. I actually really like that Zoro doesn't shed it, like, because it's Zoro being like, I have to be strong because I know Luffy is going to be emotional. Like, I actually more like Zoro and Sanji just because they're internally letting their sorrows stay because they know that everyone else needs them to be strong. Like Sanji's also is my favorite just because he like, you don't see his eyes, but you obviously know he's probably shedding a few tears, but he pops the cigarette in his mouth and he lights it as he's lighting one up for like for a friend long gone. Kind of like that whole pouring out one for your homies thing, where like, which I hate saying it like that, but like, like when people like when you see in like samurai films and like where like they go to the graves of like their fallen comrades in battle and they pour a cup of sake and they put it on the grave and then they have their cup of sake. Like that whole like one. But like I like Bakugo because like he's upset because like, and he's lost that ideal. Well, maybe not that, but like he's finally seen All Might as what he is, not just this hero that always wins, but like a man who, in spite of being so injured and weakened, he still kept going. Because, like, that was one of the things I always liked about Bakugo's character. Like, he views heroism as, it's something that, like, a strong hero is someone who always fights and always wins. That they're always strong and invincible, and, like, the strongest hero is the one that always comes out on top. Like, that's why villains can't win, is simply because heroes are always strong, or always striving to be stronger, and never, like, they just keep powering through even when things look bleak, because that's what a hero, like, real heroes are just these invincible creatures that can't be defeated. And Bakugo, I think, learns, like, in that moment, like, that even the most powerful of heroes can be defeated even if they win. Because in a way, like, it is, like, that All Might has lost. At least in the fact that he found out that Nana's, grandson is one of the biggest threats to society as of this moment. And he could have prevented this if he had known about it, which we'll see. We'll get more about that and what's going to happen with Tamura in the next episode. Especially because I know what the next episode is going to be about, because I've read the manga up pretty much up to this point. I've read like the first 13 volumes. I can't remember when volume 14 is going to be out, but I think it's like August, but more or less, because I think we're going to get 14, 15, and 16 this year. And we're probably not going to get 17 and 18 until next year. Especially because 18, I think, hasn't been collected yet, or something like that. Well, I know I looked on Wikipedia and I saw the release dates for the manga, and I don't think we're getting 17 until next year, and even then, we don't have a date. I think it's TBA to be announced. But yeah, but I just really love that scene because Bakugo sees Midoriya in tears because he knows that Midoriya, Because, like, Midoriya didn't freak out. Like, everyone else freaked out, but Midoriya's freak out clearly wasn't nearly like, oh my god, my favorite hero is actually really weak. It almost, if anything, like, if the others had paid attention in that moment to Midoriya, would have kind of probably been like, why does it seem like Izuku is less freaked out and more, like, freaked out about it? I mean, he looks freaked out, but if anything, it almost seems like he knew this was going to happen. Sort of thing. Like how, like, when, like, one of my favorite Spider-Man comics where Peter's talking with Harry, and Harry has had, like, intense psychotherapy, and so his mind's been kind of addled by, because he had been the Green Goblin, but Peter rescued him, and, like, they put him on some very strong psychoactive drugs to kind of cancel out his whole going crazy. And so, like, his mind's been kind of warped so that he's lost some of his memories. Like, he knew, like, basically Harry knew he would have been the Green Goblin, but he couldn't remember why. And eventually, like, when the Hobgoblin first came on the scene, he threatened to reveal that Harry's father was the Green Goblin. And it kind of clicks in Harry's head that was why I became the Green Goblin. Like, for a long time I thought Harry even says, like, for a long time I thought I became the Green Goblin because I knew he was one of Spider-Man's most dangerous villains, and in a way I wanted to emulate that, but it makes more sense now that I wanted to emulate my father. And he talks to Peter, and Peter doesn't, like, ever freak out, especially because this is the same man who killed his first serious girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, and he doesn't, like, freak out or cry or even lash out on Harry, like, just because, like, he wouldn't want to know that. Like Peter just kind of, like, is like, oh my god, like, it's very low key, almost like he knows. Like, it's like, if I were Harry, I'd been like, wow, it almost seems like you know. And then Peter probably would have been like, well, you know, I'm friends with Spider-Man. He told me, and, you know, I've come to accept it, and I didn't want to tell you, Harry, because, like, I didn't know if you'd be able to handle it, and I wanted you to get better. But you know, like, if any, like, it's a good thing that, like, that happened, like, Midoriya's, like, oh crap face happened in that way during, like, where everyone else was focused so much on this fight. Speaking of, I love seeing, like, we see various other members of Class 1A reacting to All Might's last fight. My personal favorites being Tokoyami, who actually shows, like, all the emotions he has, and even, like, is like, you have to win, All Might. And probably Sue and Uraraka, like, at home watching especially Uraraka, because, you know, she lives by herself because she has her own apartment that's so that she can be close to UA. So she has to watch her mentor and one of the biggest heroes, like, and especially knowing her, like she's friends with Midoriya, she's probably thinking this must be killing Deku. Like, that's probably what's in her mind, is what she's thinking, is that this must be killing Midoriya. And Sue, just because, like, it's rare we see Sue get, like, really emotional in the show. Like, even when, like, they watched Aizawa get brutally beat by Nomu in the first season, she reacted, but it was very, very much like she was restrained about it. And it might just be because she was being a hero, but, like, we actually get to see Sue actually show emotions instead of always being, like hard to read. And I think that, you know, that was a great way to show just how serious the situation was. Even, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people wouldn't get that, but I think it's always good to show, like, characters who normally are either stoic or don't show their emotions on their face very well, like, to show them actually be emotional is always a really good thing to do in animation or comic books, because that's always, I always like seeing that, because, you know, it always shows you how much they care, that, like, they do care, and that, like, it just takes a lot to show on their face. Well, speaking of, I love when the heroes come to help All Might by getting people out of the way so that All Might can finish his battle in peace, especially Endeavor. Honestly, like, well, I still don't care for Endeavor. It was such an interesting moment, because even Endeavor, the biggest jerk that he is, like, sees All Might, you know, broken and deflated, and he still encourages him to fight. because even Endeavor's like, I get it. Like, that's why I created Todoroki. That's why I've done so much horrible things. And now you're all deflated and weak. Don't show me that back, Endeavor, or All Might. Show me the back of the hero that I've been chasing for years. And I think it's a really interesting moment, just because, like, even Endeavor knows that he's like, you gotta win this, because I may be the number 2, but there's no way I'm gonna be able to take this guy on. But yeah, it's such a good episode. And I've already been just gushing about it the whole time. And finally, I think the one thing I really like is, because they always show when All Might or Midoriya is going to, like, finish the battle, or when they're going to use, like, One for All, like, in a spectacular way, in a way that like goes beyond their normal limits, and it shows the little dots of light where from each user of All for or One for All as it passes the torch on. And in this one, because it's also has Nana talking about, like, how, like, All Might, in order to, like, sometimes you need to go beyond your limits, so just think of your origin and remember all of the things you did to get here, and it will allow you to push beyond your limits, even if only a little bit, and you'll be able to win. And then it talks about how she's passing. It's finally your turn, Tochinori. Take this power and use it to be the symbol of peace. And the lights go to Nana. And so Nana puts her hand out holding an orb of energy that represents One for All, and it transitions to All Might's last punch where his weakened broken right arm grabs the light and, like, just bulks up for one last punch. And I also love it because, like, that scene reinforces All Might and Endeavor's talk about show the back of the back that is the back of the number 1 hero that I've always been chasing. Because he tricks All for One to throw his attack, because because All Might has been transferring the last bits of One for All from arm to arm to trick All for One so that he can actually hit him, so that he won't keep nullifying his blast, because he's only got so many shots of it left before he completely loses the power. So he uses his left arm to block. Like, he uses his right arm as it's all withered to block the giant, like, super fist that All for One created, and so he he uses his left arm to block away another one of those explosion shots that All for One used. And then he charges up his right fist for one more punch. And I always love it because, like, he grabs the power and then it makes his arm bulk up, and all the bruising that's from his arm breaking, like, fades away. And he's like, All for One's like, you're gonna throw more weak punches. And he's like, and All Might's like, yeah, that punch was weak, but that's because I didn't put my back into it. And he does the United States of Smash, and it's just such a great scene. So, yeah, in general, great episode, emotional. And you know what? Don't just take my word for it. Look up reactions to this episode. Like, I love it when, like, they'll show, like, all these reactions. Like, I saw one where they had, like, 6 or 7 reactions on screen, and, like, you watch as everyone cheers All Might on. You see people, just in tears while watching the episode. And it's just so great. I think this has been one of the few times since I started anime where I think generally everyone is just excited and emotional over the same anime. But anyway, I think that's enough of that. In general, this was a good episode, greatly animated, very well done. I cannot wait to see how the rest of the season will go. Because we're only on episode 12 of, like, 26, guys. And I think the next couple episodes are going to basically be not filler in the sense that they're anime only, but filler in the sense that it's more or less returning to a status quo after these big events. The next episode is clearly going to be the part where UA goes and convinces everyone to come back to school. In fact, this might even be like a 2-parter where we get. Actually, no, I think, the next episode is going to be the recovery episode. Then the next episode is going to be the episode where All Might and Aizawa go around and convince everyone to come back to school. And then I think the next episode, we're probably going to have these 2 episodes, and then we're going to get to the dorm room episode where we actually see them moving into Heights Alliance dorms that will be made. And sorry, I know I'm probably spoiling it, but like I figure most of you I've read the manga up to this point, so it's not really all that surprising for you. But in general, guys, I think that's going to be it. Because I think we're going to have a couple more episodes, and I think the rest of the arc is going to be dedicated to the provincial license exam, or at least a good chunk of it. Because I don't think we're going to be getting to the really big arc that's going to be coming up after that, which is their next internship. Especially because I feel like that's going to be a season in itself. So I don't think they're going to be doing another big season. But I honestly don't know, because I mean, this is only episode 11 of the season, and already it's just front loaded as all get out. But I'm curious to see how the rest of the season will play out. We might even get filler episodes. I don't really know. But in general, guys, I think that's going to be it. I'm looking forward to the next episode. And in general, I'm looking forward to this anime in general. Until then, guys, next up, we'll get to the next episode whenever. It might be My Hero Academia first, then Kamen Rider. We'll see what my mood is. But until then, guys, I'm Zangetsu 134, and I will catch you next time. Take care.